Hello everybody, Dylan Geddes here in Gnarled Iron Forge. It's great to have you here today. So, we're going to be doing something a little different. I'm going to be demonstrating how to make a snail. I have a video on my YouTube channel already about how I forged one of these guys, but I noticed it wasn't very detailed. So I'm going to go ahead, make a new one, and give you guys a little bit more of an idea as to how I do it. Now, for stock, you can use just about anything. I normally use 5/16 round bar. You can also use 3/8 round bar. You can use ½ inch, even 1 inch. Just depends on how big you want your snail to be. Some of the snails today that I'm going to be making are going to be made out of 3/8 round bar, but they're going to be a lot bigger. And some of them, most of them, I should say, are going to be made out of 5/16 because it's a little easier. And a lot of the snails are used as like gifts for kids and such, so I like them to be a little bit lighter. But if you'd like to follow along, you can use all of this applies to flat bar. Square stock works pretty well and makes kind of a funky shape, especially if you twist it first. You can use just about anything. You can use rebar too. I might make one out of rebar just for the sake of having some fun. But I'm getting ready for a craft show coming up here in about a week, so I'm going to be making a lot of these today. But let me get you guys started on forging this guy out. So we're going to start today towards the end of our anvil. We're going to start forging a taper in. Forge down one side, forge down the other side, repeatedly back and forth. Chase that taper up towards you. Back down, flatten it out. Once it gets a little colder, I like to go in and flatten everything out. Smooth out all those hammer marks. Now, like I said, don't need this to be super sharp. Now since this is round bar, I'm gonna knock these corners down and begin rounding out the steel. Now you could leave that square if you wish. I like to round it out because it kind of blends in with the steel, with the stock steel a little bit better. Then we're just going to take it over to the edge of the anvil. We're going to begin our scroll. And you're going to want that nice and tight. Now that scroll isn't as tight as I would like it, but it won't be too bad. And just continue that scroll as you normally would, just glancing blows. Tighten it up. Not too bad. Now, if you want to make this flat, you can. I prefer to give them a little bit more of a three-dimensional appearance, so you see how this kind of pokes out a little bit. I'm gonna leave that. I kind of like that with the snail shells, but which is what this is gonna be the shell of the snail. If you want to, you can flatten this out right here. It's up to you. Now this is the part where a little bit of interpretation comes into play. Make the shell however big you feel it should be. For me, right about there is about what I'm going to go for. Now I'm going to take it over the hardy. Just gently forge down, give it a little bit more body. Tighten it up. You don't have to brush it off constantly. It's not high carbon steel, so you don't got to worry about any of that. The reason why I'm doing that is not only so that way I can see exactly what it is that I'm doing and what I have to do, but so that way you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to heat this up, cool off the shell, and then off the side, we're going to beat on the shell and fold this over. This is going to end up being sort of the body or the butt, the tail of the snail. And yeah, and then the rest of this up in here is going to become split for the eyes. Off the corner now. And then forge it back in on itself. Now what I like to do is hold it off the edge of the anvil. You can strike down, flatten it right out. Now we're gonna have to take this over to the vise. So we're gonna go ahead, get this clamped down in the vise, just the body itself. Now either with twisting forks or with tongs, whichever you have, we're just gonna move this so that way it's in line with the body. I like to give it a little bit of a twist if I can. Not like a decorative twist, but I like to kind of move the shell like so. So that way it's over the body. Now this is optional, but what this allows it to do is it allows the snail to stand on its own. And if somebody's going to put this on a shelf or something, you don't want it to be any hassle for them, right? So I like to make sure it stands on its own. That's one thing that I learned at the craft shows. All right, next up is I'm going to tighten this up a little bit in here. We're going to straighten this out a smidgen because it is a little, well, no, I think that'll be fine. So we're going to tighten this up a little, flatten it out a little bit so that way it's got more surface area to stand on. And then we're going to begin flattening this out for the eyes. All right, so I like to do half face. You don't want to go too much. Just enough to give it a little bit of body, right? Gonna knock these corners down just a touch. There we go. That gives it that body that we need. Now we're gonna flip it around and work on the best part. The eyes. The eyes. The eyes of the snail. Right, for the eyes, same thing, half on, half off the anvil. You want to make sure you're nice and steady. And you want to try your best to keep them nice and even. Just like so. Now, keeping it nice and steady gives you that very nice and defined step. No missed blows and such. This one's turning out pretty well. Now, from here you have choices. You have options. You can either... So we got to cut down the center of this, right? To create the two eyes. You can either use a angle grinder, you can use a bandsaw, you can use a hacksaw, you can use a file, or you can use a chisel. I used a chisel while I was in Cooperstown because it was all hand tools. I didn't have any power because it was a historical site, which is just as well, not as fast. So what I like to do is I like to use a angle grinder because I find that this is the fastest method that I have. But you can use whatever method that you have available to you. Now, utilizing a hardy tool, hot cut, you can set that down in there, grab it on the side, give it a twist, and that opens up the eyes for you. I like to flatten it out so that gives us a lot of room to work this one stalk. And then we bend that out to its final shape, bend this one straight and work on that one. All right, now work in this one. Just nice and gently. Slowly make it into a square. slowly but surely. Now, depending on the size that you want, you can leave it square. Again, I prefer to round mine out. Then take it over the side of your anvil. Get it out of your way. Now this one is going to be the same deal. If I can finagle it in a way that you guys can see. Make it into a little square. Like so. Now we're going to round it out. Like so. Now, all we got to do is kind of bend them around, and however you want to do that is however you want to do that. Now, just to show you that it is possible to do by hand, we're just going to take it, bend it around itself. And that, my friends, is how you forge a snail. I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy cleaned up. Now, when it comes to finishing up a lot of like little guys and whatnot, you can use a hand brush, and that works perfectly fine. This is cheaper than the hand brush that I have. I mean, obviously not with the drill, but if you're like me, you always have these power tools on hand. Then, just like everything else that I currently sell, polish it up with some beeswax. There you are, my friends. Still a little hot to touch, but a snail. Aren't they just fun? Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. That's how you forge a little snail. Those things sell like hotcakes whenever I go to craft shows. I just want to let you know. They're kooky, they're creepy, they're weird. Some people find them cute. Some people find them creepy. Depends. Anyway, if you like this video, please like it. If you dislike the video, please dislike it. Let me know why in the comments down below as to why you either liked it or disliked it, so that way I might fix it in the future. Make better content for all you lovely people out there. If you consider this to be your style of content, please consider subscribing. I have nothing but higher ambitions in the future. And this was Dylan Geddes of Gnarled Iron, and I hope you enjoyed the snail. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.